If you have been convicted of a crime and sentenced to jail, you have to go to jail, right? Maybe not. Watch the rest of this video and find out alternatives to your jail sentence. Welcome. My name is David Jolly, and today we're talking about alternatives to jail. In other words, what options you have instead of going into jail. The reality is, no one wants to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. They're scary, they're dirty, they're dangerous. But if you've been sentenced to jail, you are facing an awful reality. Or are you? Well, once again, a central theme to my videos is that it's really important you understand the local rules and practices of your court. Different jurisdictions may have different options for jail. One of the options you have for avoiding future jail is credit for time served. If you were booked into jail after your arrest, it's worth investigating to see if you'll get credit for a full day of jail. In one county where I practice, the district court will give you a full day's credit, 24 hours of credit towards jail if you served 12 or more hours after your arrest. In the same jurisdiction, in fact, 2 or 3 blocks away at the municipal court, they will give you no credit for time served if you served even a minute less than 24 hours. So once again, knowing your local jurisdiction and inquiring of your attorney is worth the effort. Credit for good time. What's this? Well, like credit for time served, this isn't really a jail alternative, but it is important to know that it does reduce future jail time. So credit for good time is when the jail actually reduces your jail sentence if you behaved yourself. Now, in my jurisdictions, if you do behave yourself while in jail, the jail will reduce your total sentence by 1/3. So in other words, if you're sentenced to 15 days of jail, you'll actually serve 10 of those days if you behaved yourself while incarcerated. Work release is actually jail, so it's not avoiding jail in its entirety because you still need to go to jail. However, you are permitted to leave the jail during the day or night, depending on when you work, to go to work. Now, most work release programs have their participants also in a different area of the jail. It's usually a nicer area of the jail because if you qualify for work release, it generally means you don't have any significant criminal history. Now, the way it works is when you are to go to work, you are released and given time to commute to work. When you have completed work, you return back to the jail, sleep, repeat. And this goes throughout the entirety of your jail sentence. In the jurisdictions where I practice, you are permitted to leave up to 6 of every 7 days to go to work and up to 60 hours a week to go to work and commute. While hardly perfect, this does permit the individual to leave the jail, maintain employment, and to keep producing income to pay your bills. Home monitoring or home detention permits the defendant to serve jail in their own home. Now, these two programs, home monitoring or home detention, are essentially the same thing, but depending on your state, the rules might be subtly different. And it's really important that you understand the slight differences between the two programs. But essentially the idea is the same. Now, importantly, this is not available in all jurisdictions, but it is becoming significantly popular in many jurisdictions. In instances where this is available, an ankle bracelet is placed on your ankle, and this bracelet must stay on for the duration of the time you are on home detention. Most of these devices now have a GPS tracker installed to determine your location, while the older models have a base unit at the home which is hooked into a telephone landline. Be certain to check your local rules, but generally home detention or home monitoring will permit the defendant to go to work, to medical appointments, alcohol or drug treatment, but otherwise you remain at home. Another alternative to jail is something called the one-day offender program. And I'll bet that most people watching this video have never heard of such a program. Well, this program, unfortunately, is an endangered species as fewer and fewer courts and jurisdictions have this option available. When I started practicing law about 25 years ago, there were about a dozen courts that had this option available, and now it's only in one of the jurisdictions where I practice. And if you're interested, that jurisdiction is Skagit County, Washington. The one-day offender program utilizes a military-style dormitory in lieu of a jail. Now, you have to qualify. You can't have significant criminal history, for example. But assuming you do qualify, you're not behind bars, you're in this dormitory with individuals who are not career criminals, and the environment is a much more pleasant one than the jail. Yet another alternative to jail is work crew. Now, work crew is essentially community service that you provide to the city or county where your court is located. Following court, you're screened to ensure that you're a good candidate. No violent tendencies or physical limitations. And then you receive a date to report. You often serve with several other people who are under the direction of a supervisor. You can expect to do manual labor such as gardening, picking up garbage in parks or alongside of the highway. Finally, my favorite alternative to jail is community service. And it is a great alternative to jail, and for many reasons. The most important is that you get to help out an organization of your choice. Be sure the organization is a not-for-profit agency, and that at the completion of your hours of service, be certain to get a letter from this agency on their own letterhead, confirming the number of hours you performed and the fact that their organization is a not-for-profit agency. Good examples of community service opportunities include animal shelters, which would be my favorite, food banks, food kitchens, the Salvation Army, and so on. For more information on jail alternatives, please check with your local attorney, check the court's website, subscribe to this channel as I'll be giving more information in the future on different alternatives to jail. Please look at our website or read our blogs.